jaw is clamped shut as well. The two of us merely watch him leave solemnly. Lou almost gets ahead of Margaret when he hesitates in front of her for the briefest of moments. Then he picks his head back up and thrusts his hand at her, grabbing her by the arm. Faster than I can react, Lou pushes her hard to the side. She doesn't even have a chance to stumble as she is tossed right off the edge. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Death by Pony, and today we're going right back into Lake of Voices. So without further ado, let's hop in. But right now, our lives are in the guide's hands. If anything is to come from this, it'll be from trying to understand him and getting him to understand us. I take a single step towards the guide.
Why does someone have to choose one side over the other? I may be human, but that does not mean I want to see more lives lost, and that includes the Nixie. I don't believe your kind must cease to exist.
Lou cautiously nods.
Keeping humans away through fear may work for now, but their settlements will only grow. Eventually they'll be coming onto the shores with more in mind than simply crossing. Why would it be such a problem if not everyone in the world hated us?
If it is possible, the guide's visage pales even more. He gives us a distant look.
I know that I can only put off the inevitable. We cannot grow an army or create grand weapons, or even retreat. Someday humans will be capable of conquering us, yet approaching them on our own will not save us. It will only hasten our demise. Nixie are known as monsters, and I, as the guide, am a well-trusted figure among several human communities. If they find out the truth, it is foolish to believe they will react with kindness and forgiveness. If you wish to blame me for putting our kind in this position, you may. The pollution from the single camp Garvin established all those years ago was enough to disturb our lake noticeably. It couldn't go on. I assumed a human form, copying much of Garvin's appearance because I was unsure how else to appear, and failed to reason with him. That may have been due to my own shortcomings. We still needed them to leave, and I knew enough to guess that if Garvin was gone, the others would abandon the quest. He was the only one stopping the retreat, and the only one who needed to be sacrificed for the safety of everyone. So, when Garvin went out onto the bridges alone, I killed him there. That was the turning point where we became labeled as a frightening, lurking threat. I have been trying to take responsibility for what I did, and decided to use the humans' idea of what we were to our advantage. We are natural shapeshifters, so appearing as monsters was not outside the realm of possibility.
I feel beads of sweat form as I start to quake. I knew the guide's life story must have been false considering what he truly is, but directly hearing what transpired with Garvin is still difficult to take. The man before me killed him. Lou stepped forward and looked the guide straight in the eye.
Garvin was a leader who only thought of his own goals and refused to listen to anyone else's point of view. Can't you see that you become the same?
That is fine. I do not think myself superior to Garvin. Indeed, I believe that his ultimate ambition was correct. Garvin may have been driven by his naive, childish need to fill his life with accomplishments, but his working at those achievements made it possible for those around him to thrive. Kika herself benefited from it, as did countless others in the villages he established.
The guide paused to steal a quick glance at me before continuing on.
In the end, the reason the Nixie cannot trust that peace will be possible with the humans is not due to the fact that we're different, but because we are the same. When the time comes, and it will come, humans and Nixie will choose to protect the ones they care for most, and forsake those they don't. Either humans will immediately want revenge for the lies and deaths the Nixie have committed while also wanting to remove a threat, or there will be a mere illusion of peace until we and Sinlos can be used as tools for human affairs. Since humans do not get along with themselves, positive terms with us will certainly not last. Refusing to let anyone cross, allowing the wrong people on our lake, or even speaking out of turn could mean some communities think we're deserving of an attack. And of course, we should remember what happened to the other guard who was with us. You here could have helped him, and yet you did not.
I closed my eyes for a moment, willing myself to not get too emotional. My heart aches and sinks to the pit of my stomach at the memory of Bemele.
This lake is cruel and unforgiving. It forces one to make such heartless decisions. However, you would not have been spared that outside its reaches. That is simply the way of this world. Some can be saved, others cannot. No matter how poorly you wish to think of me, I merely made a choice that couldn't be escaped. You must realize that reaching out to humans won't create a place where everyone is spared from a dark fate. It will only risk the safety of us instead of them.
It's clear the guide is unambiguously certain. There's no other way. I have no hope of convincing him to get any human chance in the little time we have remaining before the bridges sink. The defeated look on Margaret's face tells me she has come to the same conclusion. She has no retort for the guide, even though she likely disagreed. We both know there is no point in trying to save ourselves. While on this lake, all the cards are in his hands. Trying to overcome the horrible laws of Sinlos was a futile goal from the beginning, and it's sobering fact to learn. Still, I am not willing to stop here. My efforts don't have to amount to nothing. I take a solitary breath. My life hasn't been ripped from me just yet, and there is something I can do that may help another. I look directly into the guy's empty, distant eyes.
Yes, I can understand such concerns. But why have you not sunk this bridge yet?
It will naturally fall shortly.
But you can sink a bridge early if you so choose, and you haven't. Even if you did not want to expend your magic, you did not have to come here or stay this long. Why are you speaking to us at all when you could end this?
He doesn't reply, only watching me with an unreadable expression. My heart pounds in my chest as I tentatively pose my next question.
Is it possibly because you don't want it to end this way? Do you want your words to change something?
Now that I'm aware of the full context of the guide's situation, I'm under the impression that he is not as callous as he initially appeared. He deals with the situation in certain ways, of which I've started to catch on to. Both Margaret and Lou look on dubiously at me, my attempt to reach him. The guide offers a doleful smile.
Is that honestly so surprising, Lou? I am not eager to participate in your death. None of us are.
Upon being suddenly addressed and with such words, he was taken aback, but almost immediately his guard is put up once more.
After everything you said about necessary sacrifices, how can you pretend that you care about one useless Nyx?
It's true that we cannot ignore what has happened. We need to protect ourselves. Yet I know that this is the worst outcome in all our minds.
Despite his words falling on deaf ears, the guide desperately continues to struggle to connect with Lou.
I did not suggest you stay off the bridges because I don't trust you. It was because you were clearly self-sabotaging and I felt worried. And when you were found, I wanted you to leave to lessen your offense, not because I didn't want you. Even when I took the drastic measure of dropping Kika into the lake, I did it because I hoped it would cause you to prioritize saving yourself, not because I wanted to hurt you. Did you not hear the other Nixie encouraging you to fix this that first night? Then, despite continuously refusing to do what you needed to, I made sure you at least safely reached the island when you did not remember the way. You didn't need Kika to protect you, Lou, because all of us were, in the very beginning.
He releases a pent-up breath.
Still, you cannot be blamed for responding to her kindness. I had not realized the extent of your emotions, and that left you feeling isolated. I may be distant, but I believed you understood why. I was wrong.
He casts his eyes downward forlornly.
It was my mistakes that cost you your life. I truly and deeply apologize.
I am in awe of the sight before me. It feels almost surreal to see so emotional and open. For a moment, Lou seems moved by his words. His eyes become glossy. However, he refuses to embrace that emotion and turns away.
It doesn't make a difference now. I'm not leaving her. That's what matters to me.
The guide's sorrow swells at Lou's response. He moves as if to reach out to Lou, but does not follow it through. Regardless, he doesn't contest Lou further. It is Margaret who finds the will to speak up in the pocket of silence.
If you really want to help Lou, and Lou wants to help us, why not give her and me a chance, just this once? I promise that we can be trusted.
No. You cannot leave this lake with the knowledge you have. That is an immovable law we abide by. Now, if I had wanted to spare you by allowing you to live here, I still wouldn't be able to. In some ways, I could be considered a leader of the Nixie. However, I am not a monarch. Decisions such as that aren't ones I can make on my own.
He turns to look out at the water. He speaks up loudly across the lake.
To those who are listening, this is your time. If you would like these humans to survive by remaining with us, you may say so now.
My eyes dart across the left and right, desperately clinging to hope of hearing someone, anything. To my utter dismay, there's scarcely even a ripple of movement on the surface of the water. Every moment of silence, my heart pounds louder and louder in my ears. The lake voice is silent. Softly, the guide pleads with Lou once more.
Come back to us.
Lou flinches at the demand and stays rooted in spot. The guide continues urging him.
I want to listen to you, Lou. I want you to be saved. But I can't, so long as you've forsaken us.
So you killed him! Lou pulls his arm together and stares into the ground, trembling. The guide gaze weighs into him as he sinks further into himself. It's as though he's ready to curl back into a ball like when we first met. Then Lou shifts his head up somewhere to peek over at me. There's something unnameable in his eyes. I can't find the words to speak, so I look back at him with sympathy. It's all I can do at this point. His head falls back down reluctantly while trembling. He turns his body away from me. The action is so slow, it feels as though he's wrenching himself away from my presence. He starts to walk past without acknowledging me again. I still struggle to say anything as he makes his decision. Margaret's jaw is clamped shut as well. The two of us merely watch him leave solemnly. Lou almost gets ahead of Margaret when he hesitates in front of her for the briefest of moments. Then he picks his head back up and thrusts his hand at her, grabbing her by the arm. Faster than I can react, Lou pushes her hard to the side. She doesn't even have a chance to stumble as she is tossed right off the edge. Like a bad dream where I am moving too slow, Margaret reaches out a hand to grab onto something. I rush forward to her, but it's too late. I arrive at the edge as she sinks below the surface.
Margaret!
Margaret! I watch helplessly as the black water still completely as though nothing and no one fell through. It's merely moments ago. It feels unreal. How could this? Why would this? The sound of Lou's fragile voice breaks the trance. Shock put me in.
I'm sorry.
I whipped around to face him, reeling from shock, but anger claws its way up now. His arms are tightly wrapped around himself. He looks ashamed, as though that is enough to make up for what he's done.
That's always been what I had to do to come back. Kill a human.
I can only respond by widening my eyes even further as I desperately try to process what just transpired and why. I look over at the guide. The earnest man, overcome with such vulnerability, only moments ago, now replaced by the same detached expression I've been treated to over and over again on this journey of night terrors. It's unbearably cruel reminder of where I am. Lou's eyes flit to the side in shame.
Talking to humans is completely forbidden. Even if you didn't mean for it to happen, it's still a terrible mistake. As the guide was saying, I could have made up for it by returning to my prowler form and properly fulfilling my responsibilities. But I didn't do that. I went with you. The punishment for that kind of knowing offense is death.
He frowns bitterly at the words.
You mean, if you had just not... If I hadn't insisted, then...
I started to trail off, disorganized babbling, the revelation this brings.
No, don't blame yourself. It's almost a guarantee someone would have been lost on this lake without me there, and I still would have died too. I felt worthless. I wouldn't have been able to maintain the form or follow the patrol, so it was going to be over for me. I accepted that. I'm sorry I had to drag you down with me.
Lou doesn't wait for my reaction. He turns away, hardening his expression to face the guide. Oh my gosh! This is a whole bunch of twists and turns emotionally I wasn't prepared for.
With that, I can say you haven't rejected what it means to be one of us. Speak. We'll hear you.
Lou's determination falters slightly. He tries to sound self-assured, but it's obvious that he's nervous.
I'd like you to give Kika a chance. She's kind and she cares for others. Even those who don't do her any good.
He says that last part rather harshly, guilt straining his voice. All around us are barely audible chorus of whispers, emanates from the lake. I can only feel the sensation of sound, as I am completely lost to what they are saying in their foreign tongue. The guide closes his eyes and listens for a moment. He nods imperceptibly. He opens his eyes and they're trained directly on me.
We will continue to kill humans who enter our world, as we've already done to those you care for. Accepting Lou's recommendation means you're willing to also accept that kind of sacrifice for our sake. If you cannot, so be it. The choice is yours to make.
Give me 1 sec. I feel like it's going to ask me to make a choice, and I'm not about to do that to myself. I'm going to put that at slot 4. Okay.
Show us where your values lie.
I swallow hard. The voices dissipate once more. Despite still being under the surface, I can feel the eyes of every Nixie on me. Lou doesn't speak. He knows that choice is mine alone to make, yet he is pouring his heart and soul into the gaze he's giving me, who risked everything to try to save me. I can't bear to speak to either man. My choices are either to lose my life to this lake or abandon it to the same place. I search inside myself as much as I've pretended to be strong, to be sure. All this time I've never known for certain how I should live or what I should be living for. But somehow, this journey has given me a clearer view than I've ever had before. A sliver of a tear escapes my eye. Then finally I ball my hands into fists and prepare to face my fate. I can't. The guide nods solemnly. It strikes me that he was expecting such an answer. Lou goes as silent, still and rigid as a statue. Soon a look of sheer horror consumes his face. For a moment, as the sun rises, Lou shakes, mouthing words I sometimes know and sometimes don't, but his lips form a no most of all. Finally, the spell keeping him still breaks, and he takes a step closer towards me, his whole body still quivering. I shake my head at him, and he stops, albeit with delay. He stares at me with wide, sad eyes that grow shiny. His face is frozen, halfway through a word that I will try not to recognize. Sorry, that's all he ever says, huh? I don't pay him any more mind. I look out towards the shore. I remember Manele and Margaret, and every single human being I've ever known. I couldn't live with myself if it meant accepting that many others will die in the same horrible way right under me. The sun rises in the sky farther and farther until it burns brightly through the fog. The sound of sloshing and creaking starts. The bridges begin its inescapable descent. I'm struck by how beautiful the world looks now. The darkness has cleared. I keep my eyes focused on the sky as I hear mournful whispers from nearby me. The coolness of the water collects around my feet as the bridge sinks below the surface. I let my eyes droop closed and ignore everything around me, keeping still. My legs grow weightless as I feel something in the water with me. I open my eyes as my face goes under, and I'm faced with crimson. It doesn't take until my eyes adjust to know what it is. Lou reaches for me, his clawed hand hesitating just beyond my arm. I can't make out his face, and that's one reprieve that lake grants me. My legs have nowhere to stand. The water is weighing me down, and the cold is chilling my bones, but I manage to shake my head once more. With a moment's hesitation, he deftly navigates the water and retreats further into the dark, though likely just far enough to no longer be seen. I breathe out, and the bubbles of my last bit of air tickles my face. Even as I start to jerk from my body's needs to escape this tomb, I am not consumed by fear. Instead, I am filled with a strange sense of determination as everything grows disoriented and I forget how to tell up from down. What is done is done. All I can do now is remain firm with what's important. All 3 bonus events are now unlocked. What? What? What do you mean bonus events? Sir? Sir? I was getting endings and achievements. What do you mean bonus events? Okay. I'm gonna be doing some research. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to hit like. That way I know you're enjoying the videos I'm making. Remember to subscribe. That way YouTube brings you back here to see what's next. And I won't take up any more of your time. Have a good day, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.